Hello, I'm Dave Matthews with Spark of Life, and our passion at Spark is to walk beside those who are grieving. We've been doing this since 2009, and during that time, a lot of our work is with churches. We've done about 110 grief workshops for churches of all kinds all over this country, and partnering with many churches and helping them to expand or to establish a grief ministry that involves people in their church, but also is a beacon of light for those in their community. And the interview that we have right after this video, the interview that's coming is with two dear people that are in a church in Glasgow, Kentucky. They've done 5 grief retreats for their members and for their community. They do 1 or 2 every year, and they've also done 2 grief workshops. That's a Saturday workshop, and the retreat's 3.5 days. And I invite you to see that interview if you're interested. And if you don't want to watch the interview, and you're interested, just give me a call. The numbers are listed here on the video. And we'd love to be of an assist to you and talk to you about the possibility of joining forces and to help you. It's our passion. This interview is great. I just hope you look at it. And our prayers go with you, because I know all of you that are in church work who are part of a church know that grief and loss is part of everyday fabric of all of us. So we invite you to join us and give me a call, and let's explore the possibilities. At Spark of Life, we believe in hope. Now watch the interview with Gary and Tiffany. Well, hello everybody. I'm Dave Matthews with Spark of Life, and our guest today, as we talk about our Spark of Life Grief Recovery Retreats, is Gary and Tiffany Somerville from Glasgow, Kentucky. And you guys say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Gary and Tiffany are part of our board of directors, and the what do you call the advisory board and the real board? We don't know which one goes where, but they're on our board, and they're great supporters of Spark of Life, and we love them dearly. And so, do you guys remember the retreat number you came to? Anybody remember?
Oh, no, I can't remember.
Well, we've done 148 retreats, and it was about 3 years ago, wasn't it? 3 years
I think it was like 121 or something, or
121.
Yeah, somewhere.
Okay. So we'll just kick this off about number one. Why did you guys, what prompted you to come to a grief retreat? I mean, I know some of these answers, but I want you to share it with everybody about what prompted you to come. Like, what were the losses that drove you here? And as you know, our retreats are for any kind of loss, both death loss and non-death loss. So why did y'all choose to come to the retreat number 121? What was it?
Well, for me, it was I've lost both of my parents, and my parents were I was born later in life, let's say, and I know I had dealt with my mother's death because I was always very close to my mother, but I had really not dealt with my dad's death. And we had some issues while he was alive, and he was recovering alcoholic. So there was some past hurts, I guess, would go along with that. And I had never kind of dealt with that issue. I had just I grieved, temporarily his loss, but I never really dealt with the issues behind that loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How long had he been gone when you came to the retreat?
Oh, he had been gone for maybe 15 years before.
Yeah, I'd never met him, so long time.
Wow. And that's not unusual for our retreats. People have losses like a year ago or 6 weeks ago or 30 years ago. So yours was way back.
Yeah.
But with your mom, you didn't really have any issues when I know you miss her.
Right. Yeah. And I never had any unresolved issues with her.
Right.
She passed away from Alzheimer's, and I grieved her loss even before she was gone because of her Alzheimer's, and she really wasn't the mother that I knew and grew up with. So I kind of come to peace with that loss.
Mm-hmm.
And although my dad, he died of cancer, and it wasn't an immediate loss of his physical body, but there were still those underlying issues that I had never dealt with.
Yeah, we call those incompletes, don't we?
Exactly. Yep.
And if something's incomplete, we're unsettled. Yeah, your story is very similar to mine, Gary.
Yeah.
Very, very similar to my mother being an alcoholic, my dad dying of Alzheimer's. I didn't have any problem with my dad dying. I wanted him to die. My only problem was I felt guilty that I wanted him to die.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common, we found as well. Well, thank you for sharing that. What about you, Tiffany?
For me, it was a couple of things. It was, I called mine a living loss because mine was the loss of my relationship with my father, but my father's not deceased.
Right,
So
right.
it's kind of, it's odd. We just have a very difficult relationship and have most of our lives. He's a very difficult person to get along with. He really wasn't in our life when we were younger. He was building a business, and so he was gone a lot. So there's a lot of things that we didn't get, we didn't have, and we missed out on as far as a father. Um, and then my parents divorced after 25 years. So that was another big loss that we had. And I think at the time I was like 22 years old, but it was awful. I divorced at that time. My sister had divorced from a 10-year marriage, and my parents divorced from a 25-year marriage.
Yeah.
So that all happened within like 2 years. So it was a very dark period for me of, my parents splitting up and fighting, and my poor sister was in custody fights. And, I was in a very short-term marriage, but it was over. And yeah, so it was pretty rough and dark and difficult. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I still speak to my dad. I'm actually in business with my dad, but it's just difficult because I just never had that father that most people have.
Yeah, and that breaks my heart, hearing all of that. So these are serious, huge losses, even though, I mean, there's some death involved in you guys' losses, but death of relationship or not what you've always wanted or dreamed of, that can just knock you to the canvas, right?
Yeah. It was just a continual hurt. It's like, oh my gosh, here we go. And just when you thought he would get better, he'd do something to hurt again. And it's like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Why do I bother? So yeah, it was
It hardly ever goes away, does it?
no.
Wow. Wow. So how did that affect you guys' marriage? All these,
Well, it obviously blew up my first marriage.
okay.
It
Yeah, I
contributed
mean,
to it.
divorce seems to be a theme, right?
Yeah, I mean, it did. It was like I went out and picked the wrong person based on that. And I think when, I didn't date or marry much for almost 10 years. And so Gary and I
Wow.
didn't even get married till we were 30, I think, wasn't it, Gary? 31.
Yeah. 31.
And so we got married late in life. And it was tough in the beginning because I was still hard. And I really didn't want to get married again. And I thought I'm never going to be able to trust another person again. And so I think I was very hard on him, and I was very adamant about, don't cheat on me. Don't do this. Don't do this. If you do, I'm going to drop you and I'll be gone.
Wow.
And it took us a while for me to feel safe with Gary.
Sure.
So,
Sure. It's hard for you to trust men.
absolutely.
We say often in our retreat and marriage work we do, if the two people on earth, if I don't feel their unconditional love, either from one or both, that's mom and dad, I might think I'm unlovable or I'm incapable of loving others. Did
Yeah.
that ever enter your life there? Either one of you?
For me, my dad went on to marry again, and there was another family B, and the kids involved in that. And and then he's divorced from that one and he moved on to family C, and there's a kid in that. It was difficult to go through those times because he was taking kids to soccer practice and things like that. And I'm like, okay, you never took us to anything. And so the hurt just kind of kept coming back. And it made it difficult to trust that like Gary was going to do what he said he was going to do, because it's just all I had was this history.
So security wasn't really part of the DNA there for a while, right? Security in your relationship with each other.
No.
Yeah. Well, and then I know some of your background, but if you could share it, how did you hear about Spark of Life? And I know it's connected to your church, but and what made you decide to come to a Spark of Life retreat? Because what you described, a lot of people they'd say a grief retreat. Well, I haven't lost anybody to death. Well, Gary lost your dad, right? Yeah.
Both parents. Yeah.
Yeah. But what prompted you to say, hey, we need to go to a grief retreat?
Yeah. We, the church that we belonged to, our pastor and his wife had actually gone through a grief retreat. She had tragically lost both of her parents in a car accident. And, I just can't imagine how that impacts somebody, but they had gone to a Spark of Life grief retreat and it saved them really. I think it saved them, saved their marriage. So when they brought it back to the church and they were talking about it, I'm like, oh, we need to do this as a church. I was doing it for the church.
Right.
I had at that time, what I thought was I haven't had that many losses in my life. Both my parents are still alive. I said I'd lost my grandparents, but you kind of expect to lose your grandparents at some point. I thought, well, this will be good for Gary. He's lost his parents. This will help you. I didn't think about it helping me, but we thought I was doing, let's bring it back to the church. Cause if this has helped Chad and Amanda, there's people in the church suffering. There's people in our community suffering. I have friends that are suffering that have lost things. And I was thinking about others, like, let's get this here. Let's do one, let's at least try and do one in Glasgow. And so that was my motivation was, to do that for Gary, do it for some other people. I had no idea what it was going to do to me.
Yeah,
Wow.
I felt the same way. I mean, we wanted to be part of this organization, and we knew what Chad and Amanda had went through, and just in your everyday life, you come across people that are grieving, and have not dealt with their grief. And I thought, well, we need to get plugged into this organization so that we can help others. And then we wanted to experience the process of a grief retreat, so we signed up to go. And then, once you get there and you start unpacking the backpack that we carry around, all of us, the rocks that we have in those backpacks, that, you see that it's also for yourself, not only to help others, but to help yourself through this process.
Yeah. And the losses aren't just death.
Oh,
Right.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, they all kind of affect each other, how you deal with them. And that's one of the key components of a retreat is that blankety blank lost story or lost journey we make you do, or we ask you to do that lost story. So to fill in some of the blanks, that church, because of Chad and Amanda's experience, and we really bonded with them immediately when they came to a retreat in Tennessee at Whitestone Country Inn. They came, and I'll still remember the first day we met them. Very easy people to love, and Amanda's kind of feisty like Debbie, right? And Tiffany, and of course, I was a pastor for years, and Debbie was a pastor's wife. And here's Chad and Amanda, and we just bonded with them immediately. And then Chad had Spark of Life come to y'all's church to do a grief workshop, like a one-day workshop, which we've done over 100 of those since 2009, all over the country. And
it was great. The workshop was great. And it was easier to get people to come to a workshop first before the retreat, because everybody has that little bit of hesitation of like, oh, it's a multi-day retreat. I don't think I can handle that. But we were able to get people to come to that one day kind of Saturday session. That was really great, and it was a good way for people to. And I had some people that would come to that later on when we held a retreat, I could get them to come to the full couple of days retreat. So it's another great way to get people to know what Spark of Life is about.
Yeah, the workshop is kind of sneaky, what it does for a church, and we've done so many of them, and usually there's as many people from the community as there is from the church that comes to the workshop, because it's so easy to ask people to come to a grief workshop if they're grieving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just so easy. It's not like I'm trying to convert you to my way of thinking. It's not threatening to them.
No.
And that's why we love the workshop concept before a retreat, if that could happen for a local area to host a retreat. And you guys at the retreat, we'll get back to the effect it has on the church there. Well, let's just go there right now. What effect has Spark of Life had on the Glasgow church, Highland Hills Community Church in Glasgow, Kentucky? I think I've done 2 workshops there, and we've done at least 4 or 5 grief retreats that's hosted by you guys and by your sister and her husband, Matt and Lisa. It's just, it's kind of ushered Spark of Life into a different area, an additional area of hosting retreats in people's homes. with the
Yes.
local church providing the food and getting involved in it. Tell us a little bit how that's affected your church, and why do you host retreats in your home, and
Mhm.
what has it done not only for you guys but for the church?
Um, we were doing these destination kind of retreats, and we thought, at our house, we're very blessed. God's been good to us, and we've always felt like our house it's God's house. It's a gift from Him. How do we use it?
Mhm.
And when this was going down, I said, what if we because we were trying to just get people to come, and it was difficult for people to go and stay at that place overnight, and sometimes they couldn't afford it. Well, this
Right.
wouldn't be it wouldn't be as expensive. If they live locally, they could come to the retreat during the day and still go home, but still give people the option if they wanted to attend it from far away, they could. Let's just have one in our house. Let's try that. It's a home environment. It's in a wonderfully beautiful, serene kind of place.
It is.
And so we did that. And when we got to thinking, oh, we're going to do this food. And then the church was like, oh, we'll do the food. So we have a wonderful group of a food ministry at our church. And these ladies are like, oh, we'll cook the food. So they cooked us, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they brought it out and brought it out every day. And for them, it's their ministry. So
Yeah.
it just overwhelmed their heart and blessed their heart. For us, it was a blessing to us because it's like, we were given such a wonderful thing with the house that we have. It was so grateful that we could do something to give back to people. And it just creates this nice home welcoming environment that you just can't get anywhere else when you're in somebody else's home. It just changes everything in my book. And then what it did at the church, and Gary, you can add on to me if I forget anything, is it made grief a topic. People wouldn't normally talk about their grief or their hurt. They'd sit on the chair pew and cry, or they might go up to the altar and cry. But because we started talking about grief, having a workshop and doing these, we would go out and we would love on each other and say, hey, consider doing this. I know it's hard. And I call it's one of the most courageous steps you'll ever take, because it's hard to come forward and talk about your pain. But let me tell you something, it changes your life
Yeah.
on how you work on your pain.
Yeah, that's kind of why, I like to stay involved with this organization, because you can see the transformation of somebody that comes in on Friday night and they're deep in their grief. And then by the time Sunday comes around, they're completely changed. Their whole countenance, the way they act is just a complete change, because they're able to deal with this, at least get some of the tools to deal with it,
Mhm.
and to start dealing with their grief. And it is so refreshing to them, and they get a sense of relief from doing this.
Yeah, it's incredible what you guys have done, and I know you don't do it for any glory for yourself, but we had years ago when we started Spark of Life after the death of our grandson in '07. We were at this conference out of town. Had nothing to do with grief. It had to do with how you eat, and it was like a 10-day deal.
Mm.
And the leader of that, who has written like 20 books on diet, on healthy eating, and all that, he's a doctor. We had one-on-one sessions with him during the 10 days. I mean, like 2 or 3 one-on-one sessions with this very well-known doctor. And he, when I went in with my one-on-one 15 minutes with him, he said, "What do you do for a living?" And I told him, well, we do grief work. We work with those who've experienced loss. And he made a statement that I wasn't angry about it. I knew he didn't understand. He said, "Well, I've chosen to deal with life, and if you want to choose to deal with death, that's up to you. But I'd much rather deal with life." And I said, "Oh, I guess you didn't understand me.
No.
I didn't make it clear. We deal with life every day of our life. It's called Spark of Life, not death, because we see
Yes.
life come back to people."
Right. After the
And it's crazy that we find ourselves in this. I'm in the last the last 10 minutes of my life in like a football game. We're in the last 10 minutes. Okay. And we know what can happen in the last 10 minutes. A lot of things, great things can happen. So we'd never would have imagined doing this work 30 years ago. We don't want to do anything else.
No.
It's because of what you guys just said, of the transformation of people from Thursday night, Friday till Sunday. And we take these pictures of groups. And when we play this video, we'll put in pictures of groups on Sunday to validate what Gary, you just said. about Sunday being different. And every picture we've got of groups, almost everybody's smiling.
Yeah.
And we want to take, Thursday night pictures, but nobody wants their pictures taken Thursday night
No.
because they're in deep grief. And they're still in grief on Sunday, but now they have hope.
Yes.
So this is a great thing for your church too. And of course, your church has been a blessing to Spark far beyond y'all's ability to understand the depths of it. But it's been an incredible blessing. And so what would you say the church is contemplating partnering with Spark in this way?
It is worth every penny, because grief is one of those things that creeps in and it never leaves people. You don't ever, it doesn't solve itself. It doesn't just go away one day. Time doesn't fix it. You have people in your church suffering right now, some quietly, some you may know of. But I'm telling you, this is the one thing I have found that changes grief, and it helps people get that hope. They learn how to live forward with their grief, because it's never leaving them. They've lost their son, they've lost their job, they've lost their health.
Right.
That doesn't leave, but it helps them, one, accept the fact that there's nothing wrong with you. You're grieving, you're hurt.
I love hearing that. Yes.
It's true. And that was just such an aha for most of the people that I know that went through. It's like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. I would highly consider doing it. It's worth every single penny. It will change the people in your church, and then it just ripples into other people.
And the neighbors and the friends that you have that don't go to your church.
Yep.
Right.
It's
The community is affected by it. Once you plant that seed in your church, then it kind of spreads throughout the community, and it's truly remarkable how people are saved by this. I mean, they have suffered in silence often, and now that they have a hope to live forward.
Yeah. And I have people contact me all the time, like, aren't you guys the church that does that grief thing? Well, what is it? How does it work? And that's just how I go from it. It's just be known as that church that's there to help this one ministry that doesn't necessarily get taken care of.
Wow. It just warms my heart to hear you guys talk about this. This is so encouraging, and I hope it's encouraging to other people who are watching this. Let's go to the retreat now. We're at the retreat, and usually we start on Thursday nights with introductions, and then the real stuff starts Friday morning, and it goes through Sunday about noon. And each of you just think of what concept, you've already referred to one, and that might be the one you deal with, but what concept or principle that you learned at the retreat really stuck with you? And I know there could be many. And I think, Tiffany, you can go first. What are some of the principles that really helped?
Yeah. And I think, the one I think a lot of people use is there's nothing wrong with you. Mm-hmm. You're grieving, because a lot of people tell them they got to get better. You got to come out of this. You got to do this. You got to do that. And some people just can't at that point. But I think for me, one of the things that stuck with me is that, all I can do is enough, and all I can do is what I can do. And some days when you're just in that, just because some days they're just tough, a lot tougher than the others. And I thought, today I can get up and get dressed. That's about all I can do today, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's enough for today. And living today. Wow.
Breaking it down to a daily thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for me, it was the exercise with the rocks in the backpack. It's a very physical thing to understand, help you to understand the burden that you carry around every day, carrying this grief. And what you can do is daily, or how often as you can, is to unpack some of those rocks so that your journey is lighter, that you don't have to carry around all of that grief and that hurt. You just need to be able to live forward.
You remember what the rocks are in the backpack? You remember any of them?
Now you got a test.
No, you mean for me personally, or for like in general?
Well, yeah, what the rocks are labeled, and we take them out and
like incompletes or something. And
yeah.
That was BS. Do you remember the BS? Right?
Yes.
It's called belief system, and there's BS in our belief system.
Yeah.
So we have to unpack those myths.
Yes.
The greatest myth I've seen is I'll never be happy again.
Right.
And that's the way we feel for a while,
Mhm.
right? How can I ever be happy again?
Yeah.
And those other two are regrets and resentments and guilt.
Mhm.
Are those pretty big rocks?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. For
You know,
me,
if
it
I,
was incomplete dealing with my father. It's like I never dealt with those things while he was alive. And now I'm just carrying around those all the time as a rock in the backpack. And it felt so much, I felt a lot better to be able to unload that rock.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Any other principles that helped you? Let's fast forward to today. So you had before the retreat, during the retreat, now after the retreat. Uh, are the same principles helping you today? Like, do you still have bad days after the
Occasionally.
retreat?
Occasionally, I
Yeah,
think of my mother.
yeah,
At Christmas, the holidays, or birthdays, or significant family events that I think, oh, I wish my mom was here. I wish my mom would have got to know my girls more.
yeah,
Mhm.
no, yeah, yeah.
So,
So those are kind of some maybe regrets and some things that keep coming, triggers that happen, and the holidays
triggers.
are obviously big old triggers.
Yeah.
But it's okay to have them, right? It's okay to have a
Right.
bad day.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
It's okay. It doesn't mean you're not in a healthy recovery.
Mhm. And
Right.
it's okay. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay not to be
Today's a
okay.
day I'm not okay. It hurts a little harder today,
Yeah.
but I'm not okay. But it's okay because I got hope. Tomorrow will be better. Mhm.
I think I shared, we've done so many retreats. I don't remember what I shared in the retreats you guys have been to, but we had a Spark of Life reunion cruise a few years ago before COVID. It's
Uh-huh.
2019. And maybe we'll put y'all in charge of
Sure.
organizing another cruise for all our
Love it.
supporters, anybody who wants to come.
Yeah.
Uh, but we had about 30 come on this cruise. And at that time, we had probably done 90 retreats or something.
Mhm.
And we were surprised to have 30. And it came from our participants. They're the ones that clamored for some kind of reunion cruise.
Aw.
And
Yeah.
we know everybody can't afford to come. That was the negative of that because we wanted everybody to come. But we gave people a year to save up and all that.
Mhm.
So we met together the day of the cruise. It was on Easter Sunday morning.
Oh,
It's
wow.
the first day of the first morning of the cruise. And that's why we got a good deal on the cruise. But it was beautiful because we had reserved a room, and of course we could see the ocean. It was windows all the way around, and we had everybody showed up, and we asked the question, "What principle from the retreat have you fallen back on over and over again that's helped you?" Everybody wanted to speak, and probably 20 people spoke, and the number one answer was, and we had different answers, right? But the one mentioned most often was that we learned at the retreat that a year from now we could have a healthy recovery. Doesn't mean you don't have a bad day or a bad week or even a bad month. So just normalize when you have a bad day. It's okay. It's
Okay.
okay. It doesn't mean you've fallen off the wagon. It means that you're a human being, and grief has this stickability. It sticks to you, right?
Right.
And so you'll have bad days. And that was the principle most mentioned by far,
Mhm.
was because they all had bad days since the retreat, and they all said, "Wait a minute." They told us at the retreat this is okay.
Mhm. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It happens, and it's part of the process. So don't sweat it. Give yourself permission to have a bad day. Watch soap operas all day if that's you. Watch a football game. Watch the Hoosiers win the national championship. Do whatever just do whatever you need to do without hurting anybody,
Yeah.
and it's okay. And then if you give yourself permission to grieve, you won't stay stuck in it for long.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. And y'all found that to be true.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I love the camaraderie that I still have with our retreat participants. That I still get, text or an email on from those participants on my dad's birthday or the anniversary of his passing or anything like that. That they're out there grieving with you. And, they'll get you, you have that sense of community that they're going to get you through this and that there's still hope and you can still live forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're
Any
bonded.
any
You're
closing
really bonded.
comments from you two? Anything else? Tiffany, you were saying something?
I just said that when feeding off what Gary said is once you go through this, you're sitting in this room with strangers on Thursday. But by Sunday, you are a whole new family together that helps each other, encourages each other, holds each other up. You are forever bonded with these people, and you are so grateful to have them in your life because they understand.
They
They
get it.
understand where you're at and where you're going through. And I'm forever grateful for the people that we have met, just not in our retreat, but the additional retreats that we hosted.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
blessed with a whole group of people that are just wonderfully amazing people. It just changes. We just recently at our company, we lost somebody that had worked for us for 30 years. And this is probably, it's one of the toughest losses we've suffered. And it's just, but I was so grateful that I had been to Spark because I have a new way of handling that. And I've been able to kind of help others. And because they all know about Spark, because we talk about it and we actually let people attend Spark through the company if they want to.
Amazing. Yeah.
So, but now this one hit home because it's one of our own. So we'll do that again this year. But we talked about it. We had 2 open grieving sessions last week over just talking about grief and our person that we lost and just telling stories about him. And it's like, and somebody said it's okay to not be okay. And I said, absolutely. I said, we're not going to have great days. I said, we're going to have days I said, hopefully not all of us will be on the same bad day. I said, that's a good thing about us being this big of a family. One of us is going to have a bad day. The other one's going to be an okay day. And we're going to get each other through it. But I was able to use some of the Spark stuff here to encourage others that, we'll make it through and just love on each other.
And it's nice not to have to fix everybody, isn't it?
Right. Right.
That's
I'm
the biggest
now.
thing for me. When I was telling Tiffany before we started recording, before Gary, you got on about uh, a person that referred somebody to me because they lost their husband to suicide, and he said, "Would you talk to this person, the wife that was left, because she's just devastated?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll talk to her if she wants to talk." And I didn't even have an ounce of worry about it because I knew I couldn't fix her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All I had to do was listen to her, and she did ask some advice, and I gave her some advice, because she asked. But I'm not going to give her advice if she doesn't ask.
Mhm.
And accept it's okay for you to grieve. It's okay for you not to have answers. It's okay for you to be angry or to have all your emotions. And even she's a God person. And by the way, our retreats are not particularly religious. We wouldn't do it. We personally wouldn't do it without the resurrection of our Lord, because that's our hope. And we're not ashamed of our Christianity. But we've had so many people come who are angry with God.
Yeah.
And then they feel guilty about their anger. And when they have permission to have all their emotions, they stop. There's nothing, quote, wrong with them. Right. And that's
Exactly.
such a huge point because, you see other people who have similar losses and they seem to be doing better. And if you go to church, you see people with their smile on and they buried their loved one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But we have no idea what's going on with them in those 2 weeks, right? Or 2 months or 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with you. You're grieving. It really helped me. It helped me deal with people too. I don't have to fix them.
Right.
So, okay. Any other thing you want to say? One question I wanted to ask is, how do y'all get people to come? Now, these two have sent so many people to a Spark retreat. It's unbelievable. So, what do you say to people to get them to consider coming to a Spark retreat?
Yeah. One of the first things I always do is I always share as much about Spark on my social media as I can. Yeah. One is through our church. I mean, we've kind of been known as the grief people because we have so many retreats in our house. So a lot of people, first we get that out there that we're associated with Spark. But when people do ask me about it, the thing I say is, if you're suffering loss, whether it's loss of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of your health, loss of a relationship, they may not be dead, but you're not able to talk to them anymore. You don't have a good relationship This is the one thing that I have found that makes a difference. It's going to take a lot of courage. I totally get that. But if you have the courage to come, I guarantee you, you will be changed by the end of it.
Oh, wow.
And you will feel hope, something that most of us don't feel when we're down in the bottom. We don't have hope. We can't see hope. And then I talk about Dave and Debbie. And I say, and no, I always do. I said, I have never met two people on this earth that are angels on earth like these two are. I said,
Absolutely.
they have repeatedly gone in when people are at their lowest point in their life and loved on them and cared for them and helped them. And I said, I guarantee you, once you meet these two, I said, it just changes your life. I said, and so I'd encourage, I just try. I'm like, be brave enough. Be brave enough to make the phone call. Be brave enough to sign up for it. I guarantee you it will help.
Absolutely. Change your life.
Mhm.
Y'all are very kind.
Y'all are wonderful. We love y'all.
We love you too. And thank y'all for taking the time to do this. Hopefully, it'll help one person come to a retreat and change their life.
Amen.
Absolutely. Amen.
And if it helps one, that's great. If it helps 1,000, that's great too. And we love you guys, and God bless you. And thank you for all you do for Spark.
Love you too, Dave.
All right. All right.